This video is regarding compound inequality practice. So we'll go through a couple problems there. So it shouldn't be a lot of new stuff because this kind of practice for lessons we've already done, but there are a few little changes. So first thing I'll mention is on any problem where you see the word or, and this isn't necessarily true all the time, but on this particular worksheet anyway, anytime that you see or, I'll circle that in red, you're going to end up with a graph where the points point away from one another. Any problems on this? So if you see or, which is also your symbol for disjunction on this, you're gonna have the graph points away from each other. If you have anywhere x or your variable or n or whatever it is between two things, or you have the word and, that is a conjunction symbolized by this little thing. So if you have that, you're going to end up with graphs that come toward one another. They don't cross, they just go from endpoint to endpoint. So just keep that in mind to start. Any of your problems that have or in them, you're going to have arrows pointing apart. Anything that you have that has and or has one of these things where the variables between two other inequalities, your graph is going to come together. So we'll take a look at a couple of these. So first of all, it really is two different problems on this one. So think of this, I've got m minus 2 is less than negative 8. So I could rewrite it, but I'm just going to do it right here. I'm going to get rid of that minus 2 by doing plus 2. I'm going to do it to this side as well. So in this case, I just am left with m is less than a negative 6. So normally I'd rewrite that, but just for the sake of time, I'm just doing it there. So there's my first one. So m is less than negative 6. I'm going to find negative 6 on here. I'm going to use an open dot because it doesn't say it could be equal to. And there's my graph. I'll also mention that on this particular assignment, all the answers will fit on the graph. So if you get some number and think, well, that doesn't fit on the number line, that means that something went wrong because all these answers will fit on the number lines provided. All right, but I have the other part to do. So this is really two inequalities to solve. So here m divided by 8 is greater than 1. Well, I can undo dividing by 8 by doing times 8 to both sides. So on the left side, they'll just factor out. Over here, I do times 8, and I'm going to end up with m is greater than 8. So I'm going to find 8. Here again, it's an open circle because it doesn't say it could be equal, and greater. So there we go. And I want to put the word or that symbol, the V symbol in between my two answers, because either one of them could work. So either m is less than negative 6 or m is greater than 8. We'll do the other one. So this one, I will rewrite this one because, let's see, I've got negative 1 is less than 9 plus n, which is less than 17. So in this one, this really works as like one big inequality. So even though there's two inequality signs, whatever I do to get n alone, I do that to everything. So right now, n is being added to 9, or we could think of it the other way around. 9 is being added to n. I'm going to get rid of that 9 by doing minus 9. And I'm going to do that to all three parts. Minus 9 in the middle, minus 9 on the left, minus 9 on the right. So here's just gone. I'm left with n. Negative 1 minus 9 is negative 10. 17 minus 9 is 8. And I'm going to keep my inequality signs from before. So 10 is less than n, which is less than 8. Or you can kind of think, since n is between those, n is between negative 10 and 8. So here's negative 10. Here's 8. Both open circles, because my inequality signs could not be equal. And so n is between those. It's bigger than negative 10. It's less than 8. So my graph would be something like that. So the other problems are going to work pretty much the same way. You might have a few more steps to get your variables alone, but as far as graphing it, it's going to work the same. The only other thing is you'll see some problems that have and. The ones that have and will also end up coming together in the end. So they're going to end up being, the problems that have and are going to end up looking more like number 2 than they do like number 1.